Hello there everybody, Myeth here again. Today I want to talk to you about the 10 years, 10 questions that Alternative Chat, which is at Alternative Chat on Twitter, posed to the Warcraft community to figure out what are we doing here in the World of Warcraft. So let me get started with the first question, which is, why did you start playing Warcraft? Well, I started playing World of Warcraft because of peer pressure. I was living in Huntsville, Alabama at the time, and everybody around me was playing World of Warcraft, so I saw a, get started free, for $1.99 disc in GameStop, I think. So I picked up the game there, and I just haven't really stopped playing since. That was back when Burning Crusade came out. I think I didn't actually have the expansion Burning Crusade back then, but I started around the time that Burning Crusade came out. So the second question is, what was the first character you rolled? Well, Myeth, which is the name of this channel, was the first character that I seriously played. It was a female gnome mage, a fire mage. And the name actually comes from a novel that I was working on back in the day, but I thought the female gnome had the funniest emotes, so that was why I chose that particular character. And also, I liked the whole engineering aspect of the game, so I definitely made my character an engineer. And, I rolled the gnome because they didn't have goblins back when I started. So, the third question is, which factors determine your faction choice in game? Well, I rolled Alliance because everybody I knew back in the day, they were playing Alliance, so I played Alliance, and then I got to know people on the Alliance side. But if there were goblins when I started playing, I would have obviously been Horde, but the goblins came later, obviously. I liked the goblins when I first started seeing them in places like Booty Bay and out in Tanaris. So, question number 4 is, what has been your most memorable moment in Warcraft and why? Well, the one thing that I can remember back in Wrath of the Lich King was we were doing a Naxxramas run, and it was basically a pug, and I guess everybody on Malfurion eventually got saved to Naxxramas that day. We started maybe at 3 in the afternoon, and that raid lasted until 3 in the morning. So that was a 12-hour Naxxramas raid, and I remember that because it was so horrible. People would come in, there would be people who would troll us and pull the boss, or people that would come in, didn't know the mechanics, and would wipe the raid. So that was fun. So it was the worst pug ever, and it lasted for 12 hours. Fun times, actually. So, question number 5 is, what is your favorite aspect of the game, and has this always been the case? My favorite aspect of the game is the social aspect. I enjoy being able to be funny in trade chat and also helpful when I know the answer to a question. Like somebody asks, where is this? And I'm like, I know exactly where it is. I got, back in the day, I got Seeker and, did all the quests and learned everything I possibly could about the game and the lore and everything, and someone would make a comment and I'd be like, nope, that's wrong because this, and, but I was the one person in the guild who was like, I know the answer to this question. You go here and you do this, and the quest line takes you here, and I learned everything I possibly could about the game. And then Cataclysm came along, and after that, I kind of I don't remember. I don't know where anything is anymore. The whole world is different. Everything has changed. So, question number 6 is, do you have an area in-game that you always return to? So, yes, the one place in the game that I always return to would be Molten Core. As far as the, an instance would be concerned, I would always go back to Molten Core. I like farming Molten Core for some reason. Dark Iron ore, even though I never use it, I just hoard the stuff because obviously I'm a dwarf and I should live under a mountain. But also there's the legendaries and the transmog stuff that's in there too. It's actually pretty good classic raiding gear. And I guess, yeah, maybe I should roll more dwarves, because my favorite city to be in, I always find myself in Ironforge for some reason. I just like their particular layout of that city. So the next question is, how long have you slash played, and has that been continuous? Most people I've heard answer this question are like, if I told you how much I slash played, I would be sad. But I checked on Altaholic, which is an add-on that tells you about your alts, and I have a total slash played time of 521 days. And that doesn't even include played time on PTRs and beta. That's almost 1.5 years of playing WoW over the last 7 years, because it started in 2007. That's like a year and a half of my life playing WoW. So, so question number 8 is, admit it, do you read quest text or not? Yes. Obviously, for the reason I gave before, I'm into the quests and all the story and all the lore and everything. I read the quest texts the first time, but on the second or third playthrough on alts and stuff like that, I might glance at it and I know what I have to do, so I don't read it as much, but I do kind of I remember. It brings me back to that particular time and place. So question number 9 is, are there any regrets from your time in game? My first regret would be not keeping in touch with all the guildies from long ago. There are some people that I've lost touch with. I don't know what happened to. I kind of wonder about them. And the other regret is not finishing the Scepter of the Shifting Sands quest before Cataclysm hit. I was like 2 quests away from that. That's my one regret in game that I didn't get to do, that I wish I would have done. So, question number 10 is, what effect has Warcraft had on your life outside of gaming? And that answer would have to be patience with failure. My attitude when I was playing in Wrath of the Lich King was basically, wipe, run back, do it again until you get it right. And that's my attitude in life too, thanks to WoW. So those are just a few of the things to look at there. So I hope those were entertaining, and I hope that alternative chat, if you're listening, thank you for posing these questions. These are awesome questions, and you put that on part of your survey and everything. And I encourage anybody listening to this video to go out there and answer those questions. And I'll put a link down below where that is, where you can answer those questions and where the questions are. And thank you for watching this video. I hope that you come back and watch more videos. Hit the subscribe button. Like this video if you like my answers, or if you want to see more. I have this channel and stuff. And thank you so much for watching.